Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Here we go with lesson 15. First of all, I just wanted to point out that in lesson 11, when we were doing Surah Al-Qari'ah, I said that I left out a word for you to recognize, and the word was al-jibal, وَتَكُونُ الْجِبَالِ. So that one, like I said in the previous lesson, to go and find it. So I hope you all were able to find that word as a practice. So inshallah, moving on, before we conclude the discussion on the plurals and go towards the broken plurals, I wanted to take a step back and actually talk about the conditions of words, because and more specifically nouns, because that's what we're focused on right now. And I keep saying influenced and uninfluenced, and you're probably thinking, what's the significance of that? And that's something that we will talk more, inshallah, as we progress through, but I want to introduce the subject to you. So let's understand the terminology a little bit. I don't think there is a way around it. Sooner or later, one has to understand that, so one is talking that lingo or that language, the grammar, and the technical terms of grammar. So the number one thing here that we want to do is talk about the in terms of the non-influenced or uninfluenced state. What is that? So that looks like as follows. So in Arabic, this is called marfu. Marfu'un. Okay? And this is represented as, and if you remember, I talked about this in one of the previous lessons, as kitabun. And I'm going to identify the ending, because this is all about ending. The ending is what tells you whether it's influenced or uninfluenced, right? So this is marfu'un. In English, this is called, marfu is called nominative. So if you take the books of English which are teaching Arabic grammar, they will call this state nominative. Okay? Marfu'un. Now, and here's, let me just put the transliteration. Marfu. Okay, so, and then marfu'un. Now, that's in a nutshell how we're going to show that, marfu'un. Now, then kitabun is in its natural state. Let's take the influence conditions and what they're called. So the influence conditions are two, okay? And this discussion is at the moment for nouns, because that's what we're focused on. And the influenced condition is going to be one of two. So it's going to be either mansub or it's going to be majroor. Okay? And mansub in English, the books use accusative and genetive for the majroor. And how does that look like? So mansub looks like kitaban. And majroor looks like, sorry, correct that here. Kitabin. So that's mansub, majroor, and marfu'. Now, example of that, let's take that from the Quran quickly. In Surah Al-Baqarah, you can see the second ayah there is ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ. And the ending there is Dhamma. So that's the definite noun, right? So the definite will not have tanween, and therefore this is a definite noun and it's in its marfu state. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ. This is in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah number. Oops. And it means that book, ayah number 2. Okay, that book. So that construction we will, when we study the indicating nouns like hada and dhalika, we will have a better understanding of that phrase. Now, example of mansub is, you can take one example as tatlun al-kitab. تتلون الكتاب. And you can see here again, kitab is coming as the in the definite condition, and tatlun al-kitab is you read the book, and this is the verb here. Tatlun is a verb, and we will talk about that later. Once we recognize the verb, then you will see. But why is the kitab in its mansub state? Because there is an action being done on it. Different elements of the sentence will be in different states, and an object in a verbal sentence will always be in a mansub state, and that's why it's al-kitaba. Again, this is a discussion for future, but I want you to recognize when you're reading the Quran, now start paying attention in addition to the fact that whether it's a masculine or feminine or a definite or indefinite noun, start paying attention once you recognize that it's a noun based on the conditions we have discussed. Then start to see if you can identify if it's an influenced or uninfluenced state. And then usually the influence is because of the relationship to the words before it. The other example is, I'm going to use here, would be the fi kitabin. This is commonly comes in the Quran, fi kitabin. And it just means in a book. Kitabin here is an indefinite form, so it has the tanween. So fi kitabin, and you can find this is from this particular phrase I picked up from Surah Taha. So this is Surah number 20, ayah number 52. If you go there, then you will have the full translation of the ayah, but you can pick out the word there and then the phrase. So that's now you can see here. In majrur case, I can tell you fi is a particle and it's causing the so this particle here is causing the effect on kitab, so it becomes in the majrur state. Here, tatlun is a verb and the kitab is serving as an object, so it's in a mansub state and it's represented by a fatha. And here, dhalika is actually an indicating noun. So this one is a noun coming with a noun, and the relationship here does not influence it to go into mansub or majrur state. So this kitab, dhalika al-kitabu, this kitabu is in its marfu state. And we said marfu is the uninfluenced or the natural state that the word is in. So inshallah, absorb this. Look, any language, its grammatical structure it requires attention. It's not simple, but it doesn't matter, because as you take it in steps, you will inshallah ta'ala build upon it. So now we have talked about the conditions of the words, their influenced and uninfluenced states, and inshallah you will see how that will manifest later, and I will talk more about that. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.